Thursday, everybody. Welcome to WCNC Charlotte. Wow.
It was my Apple Watch. I held it too long, so it thought that I was getting like kidnapped or something.
Okay, it was like our new sound effects going on. All right, go ahead.
You can confirm you're not being kidnapped. You're okay. All right, folks, this morning we were talking about tipping, and I think, broadly speaking, tipping culture is changing. We talk about you were asked to tip a locksmith.
Locksmith, yeah, I locked my keys in my car, and at the end it was like, would you like to leave a tip? And I'm like, what?
Some places ask for a tip when you pick it up and take out, which has a confusing. But now, Counter, it's a popular restaurant in West Charlotte on Moorhead that's pioneering a lot of new ways to do things. And the owner there says that he is getting rid of traditional tipping. Take a look. Jane Monreal has more.
Don't think of Counter as your traditional sit-down restaurant.
Counter is an immersive, full experience restaurant.
The restaurant, which is the brainchild of award-winning chef Sam, is a fully interactive dining experience.
We pair wine, music, even art with all of our menus.
Chef Sam is now paving a new path in Charlotte, doing something many restaurants wouldn't ever dare to do.
We are approaching Counter more of a traditional business rather than kind of this makeshift service business that restaurants have been looked at before.
This means getting rid of what Chef Sam calls the, quote, antiquated tipping method.
There will no longer be a line item at the bottom that says service charge or a amount that you can write in for gratuity.
Chef Sam says for him, his employees are always number one, and it's his job to take care of them.
They're getting proper benefits, time off, proper wages, things like that, and in not throwing it into weird, random percentages or hoping that our average guest that comes in will pay them a strong wage.
The famous chef agrees this no-tipping concept might sound a little far-fetched, but he said it can and does work. You just have to sit down and really take a look at your overhead costs.
You look at how much it costs to keep the lights on, how much it is for oil, how much it is for protein, how much it is to pick up something from a farm.
At Counter, Chef Sam says his employees love what they do, so that becomes their motivation, not generating better tips.
So here you meet everyone that works in this building. Everyone from the chefs to our sommeliers to our servers to even our dishwasher.
Even so, Chef Sam believes more traditional restaurants could do without tips too.
The restaurant should be taking much more of a responsibility of taking care of their employees because you don't see any other industry with this problem.
So this morning what do you think? Should we change tipping culture in America, whether it's be something like what Counter is doing and Chef Sam or perhaps something differently?
Yeah.
Chime in, let us know what you think. Larry, what do you think?
What I think about is those hard-working people.
Yep.
Those wait staff, and they depend on tips.
Yep.
And you want to reward them. The other staff pay pretty well. So I'm not sure about if it's built in to what you're paying and they are given a decent amount of that, then that's okay. I'm not sure.
Right. I think that was like the whole point of, they're saying, hey, we're going to raise the prices so that we can make sure we're paying our staff more.
Well, if the staff is happy, then, we should be happy.
Yeah.
Take a look at what some folks were saying this morning on the broadcast. One person said, I'd rather tip based on service. If you get inattentive or crabby server, the tip goes down, or great service, the tip really goes up. But that's going to depend on the individual, and as a person, as a customer, are you going to tip differently?
Right.
Somebody else saying probably, but I use tipping to reward good service and many tips for bad. Somebody just saying yes. And then somebody else comparing it to other countries like over in Europe that don't really tip. It's not as much of a custom.
Yeah.
It's
Plenty
not
of other
a worldly
countries.
thing.
It's
yeah,
not.
It's not.
I didn't know that until I went there. I remember the first time I went out to eat, I was visiting my best friend in France, and I went to leave some cash, and he's like, what are you doing? That's when I realized that's very much an American thing.
Yeah.
See, well, it also keeps it more consistent because as a server of the past, it's very disappointing when people don't even leave you 5-10% or a tip at all.
Right.
So, and think about that, and you could have big tables that don't leave tips or not leave. I usually try to leave 20%, and that's also another question is how much are they going to raise? Because you're already if you're a good tipper, you're already paying 15 to 20% of your bill. So how much is it going to come up? So I'm not opposed to it. It depends. I'm sure servers that do really well and are super friendly are like, no, I'll keep with the tipping.
That's the thing. I mean, I know Counter is not a cheap restaurant, so it's offsetting it by the owner, Sam, paying for it instead of the customers, which is nice, but again, one restaurant doing it's not going to change.
That's one out of a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to know what the wage is going to actually go up to.
That's true.
And how that impacts then the price of every menu item.
Well, I would like, we didn't mention that, I'd like to see what the waitstaff says about this.
Right. Well,
he says they support it, but yeah, do they actually?
That's one person says. Yeah,
Joy says, I tip. The servers work hard. They certainly do. Melissa, if the employees are being paid appropriately without tips, then I'm okay. But if it's just going to profits, nah. I can still carry cash for tips if someone really does an amazing job. John points out it's an odd business model when it relies on the customer to support the staff with a living wage. Yeah.
Extremely.
It sort of displaces the responsibility onto all of us.
Well, I think a lot of people don't even realize that, like, usually when you're a waiter or waitress, your salary or your wage is literally $2-3 an hour. Like, when I was waiting tables, it was about $2.35 was my wage. Yeah. And so your paycheck comes in and it's like $50, $30.
And think about that. The restaurant industry has been getting away with this for years just because they have been relying on people.
Well, we become used to.
We get used to it. Yeah, but if you really think about it, you're like, wow. That doesn't fly because there's a minimum wage except
exactly.
So.
And that's why I get confused because how do you bring in enough money to raise wages from $2-3 an hour to at least what 15, 20?
Yeah,
and to be honest, I don't think that's
go to California, $20 an hour
it's
in McDonald's.
Mandatory. Yep, that's
really
right. Yep, yeah, we had it on the show this week. Mandatory. All right, folks, chime in. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for a Friday edition of WCNC Charlotte To Go.
Bye, guys.